This is a job for Voices from Krypton.
Characters. What was the challenge and how was that for you guys?
I think you just said it. That is a challenge, and there's several different micro challenges within that, because you don't want to. It doesn't want to be a Roger doing an impersonation of Kevin and Troy doing an impersonation of Mark. And we also can't just go off the rails and create something completely new, because we wanted this to point to Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. So we've got this beautiful center point on the horizon that we look to, and that becomes our kind of that star is the one that we steered our ships towards. But within that, there's a whole other journey to explore. There's a huge, the Batman mythology and the Batman mythos is so rich and so stable that you can explore it. They've even done the reboot that was Batman, I can't remember, where it was completely juxtaposing the characters. And it's strong enough and stable enough, and we've got such a great writer and a great director within Eric Holmes and Amanda Wyatt that both care so much about the franchise that we could explore that space safely. And they set us up beautifully.
What am I going to say? I know exactly. Seriously, what am I going to do? Yeah, I agree. What he said, pretty much the same thing. That's yeah, it's gooder and cooler and stuff.
But just when you write it, say I articulate it more.
There we go. Thank you very much. I like to use less monosyllabic words.
I graduated high school, so it's
there is nothing I can say that it is not exactly what he said. These are massive characters, and we just want to pay homage to the character. And thankfully, coming into it from a prequel perspective like that, we've got a chance to kind of tweak it, but never abandon what has become so known to the fan base. Right. But by that same token, we're not doing impressions. Not at all.
I was going to ask you guys, when you first get into the role, how do you get your voice? Is it directly from the voice director, like when you're doing The Last of Us or BioShock, or you're
what's this? The last?
Just what game? Who? Yeah,
that rock you
right.
live in.
And then if you're doing Captain America, where do you get your voice from? Where do you find that?
With this, again, you want to approach every character as its own thing. And this is the only thing you're working on, and you're single-minded. It's interesting with me, and I don't know how it was with you, because I think you pretty much just walked in. We would get going, and about 15, 20 minutes in, it'd be like, there it is. We'd settle in. It's like, can we go back and pick up all the crap that we just did in the last 15 minutes? And it became this thing where I think Amanda Wyatt, our voice director, knew that. And normally it's kind of like you just drop in and do it, but this was definitely something very, very different, and you needed to find that sweet spot. Unfortunately, we had people that were patient enough to work with our deficiencies, and because we're so focused on making sure that it was the right performance, not just the right performance right now.
It very much is a collaborative effort like that, working with Amanda and the production staff, and even other actors while you're in the booth with them to try to find out what is this dynamic that we want to play between these two characters. And it's never just as easy, just kind of going like, all right, here it is. This is the character. This is what it's going to be right here. This is it. It's what you guys get. No, you live with this. You work very, very much with a lot of people. We have the weirdest job and the best job in so many ways. Exactly. Because literally, the acquisition of the work is the work, and then the work itself can be so challenging, yet gratifying and rewarding and tons of fun. But while it might be somewhat more recognizable, there's hundreds of people that work on these games, and it's collaborative from the get-go. I come to this, and Eric shows me sneaky little things that you guys don't get to see. But because I'm sitting there going, it's like you deliver your performance, and then you just hope that it's going to animate well, and that the timings are going to get processed well, because you don't know. I can walk in and say this line and deliver this performance, but if the animation is off, or if the music doesn't match, or if the timing of the way they've layered us all together doesn't flow right, it can really affect the quality of the performance. And so it's a ton of people that make Batman. It's not just the voice, it's not just the writing, it's everything. So it's a strange thing to be sitting here when there's so many people that are responsible
we're
for the
more
characters.
frontlining that for them, but there are, like you said, there's so many people behind that, and each and every individual that's on this has such a love and respect for the property, and that's what really, really comes through. All anybody wants to do, this is not just another gig for anybody. Everyone is like, let's swing for the fences, and if we go down, we die trying.
I was wondering.
No.
I was just going to say, I'm wondering, with that in mind, then, rather than just being another gig, let's say, another, oh great, I got another job. Personally speaking, is there something cool, or I don't know what the right word would be, to be part of a legacy now that from now on you are now part of this legacy as it goes forward?
Yes. Every time that somebody asks me, what's it like, he's heard me in the on-camera stuff, I stammer. I look at that and just, there's no connection here. I'm like, yeah, I'm that guy. Because again, I've done an element of the performance of that, but there's so many people involved. But it's just surreal. You will, and the stuff that I see, and the animation and all that stuff, it's just incredible. So to feel like, the guy that I look at in the mirror is a dork. He's not that guy. So it's just incredible. I keep using the same words, beside myself, surreal, all that stuff, because it's just, I can't fathom what it's like to be something so iconic. It's incredible.
Is it Ed?
Ed.
Yes, it is. I used to rush home after school every day so I could make sure I was in front of my TV at 4:30 because that's when Batman the Animated Series was coming out. And I didn't really even care what the episode was, which I guarantee you I'd seen countless times. It was hearing that theme song, and that entire what that made me feel, what I was seeing, because it was the first time that a cartoon, you couldn't even call it a cartoon, it was an animated series, resonated so much with me as like a 10, 11, 12-year-old kid. And you didn't have TiVo, you didn't have on demand, you didn't even have any kind of hard format that you could go to the store to get. You had a VCR that you had to kind of like stick a little piece of paper in there, and you get the wavy lines on the side, and a little snowy. You had to mess with the tracking, which no kid is ever going to know what tracking is. But I would tape every one of them, and sometimes it would get cut off. But I remember freeze framing the first time, and when I first got to work with her, Andrea Romano, who is the voice director for the animated series and several of the Warner Brothers properties. I remember looking and going, one day I'm going to work for that woman. Wow. And then going through and saying, Kevin Conroy, that's who plays Batman. Mark Hamill, well, that can't be Mark Hamill like Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill, a different guy. Weird, just changed his name. This is before IMDb, but that's when I knew that this is what I wanted to do. And there's no way that 10-year-old kid would ever dream that he'd be sitting at this table looking at that, sitting next to this guy talking about being involved. So a dream come true is way too cliche for something like that. But yeah, it's not just another job.
You guys have touched on, the voice acting and everything. It's a small community of voice actors.
Very
a lot
tight.
of people do a lot of different roles, and you two seem extremely close. Like, what's that community like? Oh yeah, get closer.
Fan fiction, great. Fantastic.
What's that community like?
Twitter just exploded. Did you guys feel that?
It's true. We always knew it to be so. It's awesome. It's such a there's so many projects that we've gotten a chance to work on, and we're all like very good friends. There's something about maybe I've never done any on-camera work, but I see comparisons and I hear stories from people who kind of live in that world, and it's much more competitive and it's a little more cutthroat. And the nice thing is, I can remember leaving the audition with Amanda and for this role, and I left. And I sent a text message to the director and I said, tell me you brought Troy in on this. He's perfect for this role. And she just kind of like responded with a, well, funny thing about that, because he had already been cast and I did not know this. And she was like, yeah, he's already involved in the project. And I was like, oh. And we all kind of operate that way. It's everybody's good friends. We have way too much fun working together. I think we did a few scenes together in this where they sort of booked us at the same time, and then that ended relatively quickly thereafter because I think Amanda was tired of babysitting us. Yeah. You can imagine the
A lot of fart sounds.
A lot of fart sounds with the hands, I should say. Yeah, there goes Batman for you. Sorry. I feel like the luckiest guy on earth to be in this industry, and we're just always sort of like looking at one another with amazement, like, can you believe what's going on? Like, holy cow! And we all get along and are thrilled for one another's success, because we all go out for the same roles very often, and it's like, you booked that, nice, way to go, dude, cool. I can't wait to play it. Yeah, exactly.
At gonzogeek.com.
I'm so sorry. I have to get to the panel. I have a bunch of stuff.
Sorry, guys. Thanks, ramblers.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I'm a rambler.
Thank you.
I'm trying to record and shoot and